A Tin Toy Christmas. This film was supposed to be the Christmas special to Pixar's Tin Toy film. It was also supposed to show that Pixar could make full-length films before they did with Toy Story. In fact, Pixar was on the verge of bankruptcy at the time, and the film was shelved away due to budget issues. John Lasseter was the one to rework the film into what is now known as Toy Story. Some elements from A Tin Toy Christmas was inherited by Toy Story, such as the plot of Tinny being put to storage, a concept used for Jessie in Toy Story 2, and the ending of Toy Story taking place during Christmas. Freaky Flickers. Freaky Flickers: The Quest for the Golden Flicker was a movie based on the Freaky Flickers toy line. It was a CGI animated film about Arg the Pirate and his crew of flickers, who were on a quest to find the rare golden flicker. It was originally supposed to be a 2005 television series, but was eventually developed into a full 90-minute movie in 2009. Similar to Food Fight, the film was stolen by supposedly Peter Gardner, one of the writer's associates, and a creator of the original toy line. Even the film equipment and backup hard drives were stolen. The writer, Carrie Howe, stated, "As I write this, the film is in the hands of the lawyers, but the odds of it ever seeing the light of day are near zero. It has never been officially verified as to whether Peter committed the crime or not." Big Bug Man. This film was about a factory worker named Howard Kind, who after being bit by a number of bugs, becomes a superhero known as Big Bug Man. The film is known for being Marlon Brando's last film before unfortunately dying on July 1st, 2004 due to respiratory failure. It was pushed back to 2006, then 2007, 2008, and on before its release date became unknown. My Peoples. My Peoples was a Disney film developed in the late 1990s by Barry Cook, co-director of Mulan. The film involved two rival families, the Harpers and the McGees, whose children, Elgin Harper and Rose McGee, fall in love. In order to stop this, Old Man McGee creates a potion to erase Elgin's memory. The potion instead causes Elgin's dolls to come to life, and it's up to the dolls to get Elgin and Rose together. 5 months after directing Mulan, Cook began working on this project, but was turned down by Michael Eisner and Thomas Schumacher. After David Stainton replaced Schumacher as the head of animation, he gave the film a chance, but he wanted some things to be changed, and Cook didn't like this. He obliged, but the film was scrapped in favor of Chicken Little. Electric Piper. The Electric Piper was a 2003 Nickelodeon movie. It was an adaptation of the Nickelodeon show The Pied Piper. The plot involved a guitarist named Sly, who uses the power of music to drive away rats from a town called Hamlin. After the mayor refuses to give Sly his reward, he takes his revenge by convincing the town children to run away with him. The movie aired a few times on Nickelodeon, but was never released onto VHS or DVD. Only 3 clips of it was resurfaced onto the internet, one of which was taken down. It is unknown if anyone has a full copy of the movie. Freddy Cat. Freddy Cat was a film about 2 spoiled household pets, a cat named Oscar and a cockatoo named Karina. When the neighbor's pet gets kidnapped, Oscar becomes a suspect, and it's up to the two to clear Oscar's name and find the real culprits. The film began production in 2004 and was supposed to be released back in 2009. However, the film was put away in 2005 because it was unsure whether or not it could be marketed to a general audience, let alone children. The film has stayed that way since. The 1939 Alice in Wonderland draft. Alice in Wonderland was a film planned to be released by Disney back in the 1930s. This draft contained more of a gritty artwork and a darker tone. This made it harder to animate at the time, and because of this, the draft was put off until 1951, when the film was redone and released. Since then, the original draft from the 30s has yet to surface online, but a few screenshots exist. Garfield's Judgment Day. This Garfield special was supposed to be Jim Davis's best and most grand Garfield special yet. It included more darker themes and a serious tone, like a tornado destroying Garfield's hometown. Around 15 minutes worth of animation was finished, as well as several songs and all the voice acting. The special was cancelled because the production studio thought the film was too dark for Garfield. Davis tried to script the special twice more, but the studio showed no interest both times. The story was eventually incorporated into a Garfield picture book of the same name in July 1990. The only time the film has ever been shown was a brief sneak preview in a documentary titled Happy Birthday Garfield that aired on CBS in 1988. Besides that, nothing else has seen the light of day. Innie and Outie. Nickelodeon ran a series titled Short Films by Short People, where kids can submit ideas for short movies to be played on Nickelodeon, one of which was called Innie and Outie. It was about two friends, whose faces would form into belly buttons as they would go watch a movie for the afternoon. The film used the belly buttons of actors, with facial features drawn to simulate speech and actions like drinking. It was rumored that the Paley Center for Media had a copy of the film. That, and the film being listed on Howard Huffman's About Me page, are the only known sources for the film's existence. Ah Real Monsters the movie. By the time Ah Real Monsters was coming to an end, a movie for the series was planned to be released. However, it was cancelled before release for being too dark. The film remained in obscurity until it was briefly mentioned back in 2009. Because of this, and the fact that the plot was never released, rumors began to spread about the movie's existence. Fans claim to have seen bits and pieces of the film, though no footage exists online. Kingdom of the Sun. Before being reworked into The Emperor's New Groove, Kingdom of the Sun was a musical made to be released back in 2000. The plot involved an 18-year-old llama herder named Pacha, who meets the emperor of the Incan civilization known as Manco. They both realize that they sound the same, so they decide to switch places. Pacha has power for once, and Manco has freedom for once. There's also an evil sorcerer named Yzma, who plans to block out the sun in order to summon a dark force called Supa, but is eventually killed by our main heroes. The film was delayed several times by executives before being reworked into a more kid-friendly, non-musical Emperor's New Groove. Only a few scenes from the original has been leaked online. Where the Wild Things Are. Before the 2009 film adaptation of the same name, there have been many attempts to make the 1963 novel Where the Wild Things Are into a movie. In the 60s and 70s, a few attempts were made but never got past pre-production. In 1983, John Lasseter did an animation test based on the novel. The plan was to have 2D animations of characters in a 3D world. The animation was showed on the Disney Channel, and some can be seen on YouTube. Before cancellation, Lasseter created more parts of the film that have yet to be seen. Universal Studios attempted to bring the novel to film in 2001, where it would be entirely done in 3D. Universal cancelled the project for unknown reasons, despite it being almost halfway done. None of the Universal film has been leaked either. The Search for Mickey Mouse. The Search for Mickey Mouse was a 2002 Disney film about when Mickey gets mouse-snapped. Minnie hires Basil of Baker Street from the Great Mouse Detective, and it's up to them, Donald Duck, and Goofy to travel around the world to find Mickey. The gang also come across one character from every single Disney film released at the time. The film didn't receive any new information until 2005, when it was announced that it would be released in 2012 as Walt Disney Animation Studios' 50th animated feature. When the time came, and Tangled became Walt Disney Animation Studios' 50th animated feature, it was unclear if the project was still alive or completely cancelled. There is no footage or any screenshots of the film at all. Food Fight, the original version. The infamous film Food Fight was panned by critics for its unfinished-looking CGI and sexual innuendos. This was because the film was rushed into completion after the hard drive that contained the original version was stolen, That version was also developed by Threshold Animation Studios and costed somewhere between $45 to $70 million to make. The movie was supposed to showcase Threshold as the next generation Pixar. Unfortunately, after the hard drives were stolen, Threshold had to start over from scratch, resulting into the movie being delayed for a decade, and the company losing most of its hard work and money. It's unknown whether Food Fight would have lived to its hype, but the original trailer did show better animation. The hard drives that contain 60% of the original film remains lost to this day. American Dog. This Disney film was about a dog named Henry, who stars in his own show about his adventures as a secret agent. One day while filming, something goes wrong and Henry blacks out. He awakens on a train in the Nevada desert, 2,000 miles away from his home. It's up to Henry and some friends along the way to either make it back home or find a new one. If the plot sounds familiar to you, it should, because this film ultimately became Disney's Bolt. What happened was American Dog was considered too bizarre for children, so the film's writer Chris Sanders was kicked off the team and the film was later reworked to Bolt. This caused Sanders to leave Disney completely, and the only known footage of his work is a small test screening video of American Dog. Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie. Hey Arnold, the Jungle Movie was supposed to be the theatrical film for the series, but instead Nickelodeon decided to go with Arnold Saves the Neighborhood, or simply just Hey Arnold the Movie. Despite the film being unsuccessful, Nickelodeon still wanted to release the Jungle Movie, but the film's director Craig Bartlett walked out on the project, resulting in Hey Arnold's cancellation. At the time, Craig refused to give details about the movie away, though some speculation can be made based on his various interviews and online chats about the film. The plot was made out to be something like this. The whole class, now being in 5th grade, goes on a trip to San Lorenzo in Central America, where Arnold's parents are rumored to live in. The gang meets the mysterious green-eyed people, who semi-worship Arnold and Helga, believing that Arnold is divine, and impressed with Helga's ferocity. La Sombra, a character from the episode The Journal, was the main antagonist of this film, as the leader of a gang of pirates after a sacred relic called La Corazon. Arnold and Helga's relationship was also going to be complete by the end of the film. It's also worth noting that if Arnold finds his parents, he would have stayed in San Lorenzo. However, Craig mentioned in the past that they never decided on whether Arnold should stay in San Lorenzo or not. Fans have rumored that the Jungle Movie was finally being worked on again, ever since Craig announced that he wanted to work on his new show Skyrats before becoming reinvested in Hey Arnold. However, the revival of the film has not yet been confirmed by Craig or Nickelodeon.
Okay, Buster. Hand it over.
Have to kill me first.
Newt. This film was supposed to be Pixar's 14th, but ended up being their only cancelled film. It was planned to be released back in 2011, but was pushed to 2012, and then cancelled, only to be replaced by Brave in the same year. Despite the film's near completion, and the traditional Pixar eggs, Newt was ultimately forgotten about, disappearing from the official Disney A to Z encyclopedia, and lacking any new updates concerning its release. Gary Wrightstrom and Leslie Caveney were originally writing this film, but its direction was handed over to Pete Docter, who said, "I'll do it, but I have another idea altogether, which I think is better." This idea eventually became Inside Out, released in 2015. Newt also had a similar plot to 2011's Rio, which for a while was rumored to be the main reason for its delays and soon cancellation. Dumbo 2. Dumbo 2 was a planned sequel to Disney's 1941 film Dumbo. It was supposed to be released in 2001, but was cancelled by John Lasseter after becoming Chief Creative Officer at Walt Disney Animation Studios. The film was to take place right after the events of the first film, with Dumbo, Timothy, and a lot of other circus baby animals having to find their way out of the big city after the circus train accidentally leaves them there. The only evidence of this film was the behind-the-scenes trailer. Other than that, the film has yet to be seen. A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants, the movie. There's very little information about this direct-to-DVD movie. What we do know is that this was a mockumentary released by a company called Innovision Films, meaning it was not made by Nickelodeon. The plot involved a kid named Seth winning a contest called Spend a Day with SpongeBob. However, the day doesn't go quite as they planned, resulting in a hair-raising adventure. No trailers or even screen caps of the film can be found online. Toy Story, the Black Friday Reel. Before Toy Story ended up being the film we all know and love, Disney originally wanted it to be targeted more for adults. This early version is a lot less kid-friendly and more cynical and dark, with Woody being portrayed as more of a jerk. Disney wasn't so happy with this version, so it was scrapped and reworked into what Toy Story is today. It's not known how far this version got into production before being cancelled, and only a small amount of the storyboard was revealed in the making of documentary.
Hey, he slipped. I tried to. I couldn't hold that. It was he slipped. I think he fell onto the street.
He was as good as roadkill. He ain't going to pizza now.
Woody, you deliberately threw Buzz out the window.
Hey, it's a toy world.
Cowboy, where is your honor, dirtbag? You are an absolute disgrace. You don't deserve to wear a 10-gallon hat on your pint-sized head. Men, search and rescue. I want a medevac team on the double. Hustle up. Move it, move it, move it.
Hey, spuds for brains. What do you think you're doing? Off the bed. Hey, off the bed.
You gonna make us, Woody?
No, he is. Slinky. Slinky! Get up here and do your job! Are you deaf? I said take care of them!
I'm sorry, Woody, but I have to agree with them. I don't think what you did was right.